Welcome to the Coinbound Podcast. My name is Ty Daniel Smith. With me is Kylie and TJ, and today we are discussing, is it okay to use profanity on social media? TJ, why don't you start? What do you think?
Yeah, what the fuck is the right answer here? No, really, what are we supposed to say? Is it, you know, it's a mixed answer for me. I say, yeah, be yourself, talk how you normally are, but it's a little bit, I know it's a mixed result. Like, I've had this conversation with a lot of different people, and they, you know, like a lot of people want to either filter themselves or, you know, they're trying to create a specific brand and things like that. So I would say, you know, it kind of depends, like, what you're using social media for. What is it you're trying to build? Are you just using it for fun and just to engage with people, and you just say whatever comes to the top of your head and you just throw it out there? That's, you know, that's one thing. If you're using it for a business, that's a totally different approach. So I think the first thing you have to do is start the discussion of, you know, why am I trying to build this channel? Or are you trying to build this channel? Or are you just, you know, just kind of using it to just put your thoughts out there? And if people respond, great. If they don't, you don't care. So I'd say it starts with trying to kind of look at what your motivation is.
Okay. Yeah. I personally don't curse on social media, but I think it definitely depends on what kind of account it is. For a brand account, I would recommend not.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you curse when you talk just in person?
I mean, you work with me, you know I do.
Okay, so what is it about social media that you think, like, why do you want to talk differently there?
I don't know, honestly. That's a good question.
Is it, and it's, I mean, could be a few different reasons. One, like when you're talking directly to me, you know me and how I'm going to react.
Yeah.
Versus like when you put it on social media, who knows who's going to see it.
Well, I try to be a little more concise also when I'm speaking on social media versus when I'm in person. It's unplanned and it's kind of like filler words at times.
Reactionary almost?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Well, what about you? Do you curse on social media?
Not usually.
Not usually. Do you curse in person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't tell my parents.
So it just becomes to me an interest. Yeah, so I guess that maybe that's what it is. For a lot of people, it seems like who's going to see it is on their mind, and how that person's going to perceive it has an impact or doesn't have an impact. So and I think that's where I was saying it comes down to the motivation of why you're putting stuff out there to begin with.
Yeah, again, it comes down to what kind of account it is. Like I said, a brand account, I wouldn't. If you're like an influencer, or maybe it's like an avatar kind of account, like a persona that you have on social media, then whatever, you know, do whatever you want.
Well, it also depends on the brand too, like the
it
type
does.
of brand.
Yeah.
Well,
But there's not a lot of brands I would say that I would recommend to use profanity.
I think most crypto brands, I could say, yeah, you could use profanity and be fine.
Well, yeah. Well, we should also talk about which platform we're talking about, because I'm having this conversation with Twitter in my mind.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. Like, the platform also has the culture of the platform has a big kind of influence on the type of way, you know, things you can get away with versus you can't. And so I would say, again, thinking about your motivation is the audience cater, like without filtering yourself, you always want to be who you are and authentic, but you also want to have your audience in mind and know who you're speaking to. So for me personally, I'm a lot more likely to say, like you said, on Twitter, I'll say anything. You know, anything that pops in my head.
I know you will.
Will come. I'd say if anybody who follows me, they know where I land on this. If you follow me on Twitter, you know, if it's going through my head, I'll probably put it out there. But on Facebook, which audience tends to typically skew older, I'm less likely to do that. And it's not necessarily because I'm filtering myself for those people. It's more just how I really am as a person too. Like, so kind of like what we were saying in the personal conversation discussion, if I was to walk into a room and, you know, say I'm at a family reunion and it's a bunch of older people, I'm not going to be dropping F-bombs left, right, and center. So it's really just kind of depending on who I'm talking to in the audience, depends on kind of how I am. Not saying I'm changing myself or filtering myself, but that's just kind of the way I approach it. So I don't know, whatever I think will kind of convey my point best to the people I'm trying to talk to.
Do you feel there are, in certain situations, benefits to using profanity?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
So for artistic reasons,
Okay.
you know, if, you know, you need to use a cuss word for whatever reason, if you're passionate about something and you really want to convey your message, people pay attention to the F word.
That's true.
You got an F word in a tweet, like my mind my eye immediately goes to it.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So I guess it is really what you want to accomplish. I feel like I don't cuss because I don't want my mom to see it.
Right.
And I don't know who is going to see it. Hi, Mom. Yeah. So, but we're also living in a society that language is changing so rapidly that the idea of profanity may not even really be a thing anymore because people
That's
are
true.
so okay with it.
Well, I was going to go exactly to that same direction of where you were going. Like, they're just words. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to convey a point, why do you use any words that you use? You're trying to put together the best string of words to convey the way you're feeling in that moment or whatever you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
And like you said, people are caring less and less what word is a bad word versus, in a culturally approved word versus a culturally unapproved word.
I feel like there's only 4 probably words that get bleeped out now on TV.
Right. Well, and that's
Okay.
what's interesting too. Always interesting to me
Yeah.
which words they did and didn't bleep on TV.
Yeah.
Versus now there's words that aren't even considered cuss words
Yeah.
that are much more culturally a faux pas to say and will get you railroaded on social media, in person,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That used to be not as a big of a deal to say. So that's what's interesting to me is kind of cultural reactions to sayings, and it's really just kind of the human filter and perception of it that's really kind of creates the stigma. So that's why I'm always on this board of just be who you are, and if they don't like it, they can always unfollow you.
Okay, that's true.
I read this amazing article that I'm going to plug.
Let's hear it.
And it's the do's and don'ts, of like, basically, that's not the title. We'll plug the title. But these are the do's and don'ts. In business.
Okay.
Don't name call. So I
Okay.
feel like this is a good,
Now, is this for brand accounts or just for professional accounts in
this
general?
is just in the business environment.
Okay.
And
In the
so
professional
because
sense.
Okay.
yeah, so because our business is social media is our business environment. So do know your audience. We covered that. This is my favorite one. Do be creative.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it says, whoever thought of asshat and douche canoe are clearly putting time and consideration into their craft.
That's true.
Okay.
Tasteful cuss words go a long way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're funny.
Yeah.
Don't make the curse word the centerpiece. And this is the best line. Swearing is language frosting.
Exactly.
It can be the cupcake, but only if you're very skilled.
Yeah, don't overuse it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
A little bit goes a long way, I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
All right. Cool. Anything else, guys?
Well, one thing I wanted to mention and just kind of point out, and it comes to your motivation of why you're doing it. If you're trying to do this to get your message to as many people as possible, all of these algorithms and social media are going to skew towards more family-friendly things. So even if they say they're not gonna hurt your media or kind of give you less views, like say on a YouTube or a Facebook or something like that for using language, they all do pick up on it, and they will still only start to show your content to people that have liked other content with that type of language in there. So just by the nature of the way the computer system works, it will start to limit your content. So if your goal is to get as much exposure as possible, less is more when it comes to expletives.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have anything to lose from cussing on social media, don't do it. If you have the potential to lose a job or like the opportunity for a job or
Yeah.
business, like you don't want to obviously, hurt your potential chances of anything. But if this is going to be your persona online and you want to be known as a person that is passionate and, says whatever they want to say, like do it.
Well, I think, kind of what you just said, what social media has taught us, if anything, recently is whatever you put on the internet stays on the internet.
Very
And
true.
so really looking inward in yourself, being authentic and being as true to yourself as possible is always the best strategy, because if you're really putting out who you truly are, then you're going to be okay with it over time as things go on. But if you're always trying to fit and change yourself to what other people are looking for, you're going to be on the internet time and time again going back and forth on what you're saying. So if you can always just look inside and be that's why authenticity and being genuine is always what it comes down to for me. If you are who you are, then you're okay with that in 5 years versus always trying to like keep up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have a new Slack channel. Join us on Slack now if you have any questions. We have a dedicated channel to answering any marketing-related questions. You have
Yeah.
questions at the podcast.
And follow. Well, you didn't even say our names. Follow us. Young Dumb Crypto, Crypto Kylie, at Coinbound,
At Ty Daniel Smith.
at Ty Daniel Smith, on Instagram, Twitter, obviously podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. So our Slack channel is coinbound.io/join Slack. We'll take you there. And remember to rate, review, and recommend the podcast if you found it was valuable.
And like it and send it to your mom.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.